Eric Keller here with Enthusiast Auto Group. Today we're in EAG's Super Secret Warehouse number 1, where I'd like to welcome you to the first episode, the pilot, if you will, of the Enthusiast BMW Chronicle. This is where we're going to go over a specific car. We're going to go over the history, the timetable, what makes that car unique, what's cool about that car, the work, the rehabilitation, the rejuvenation that EAG and others have invested into this car's future. We're going to talk about how that applies to the driving dynamics, what that means for the next owner, both in responsibility and care, but also the rewards of those type of investments. And we're going to talk about the market. We're going to talk about how much these things sell for, what this car is worth. We're selling it, it's for sale. I'll be happy to share that price with you at the end of this video, and a whole lot of other insights along the way. It's going to be an educational video. It's going to be a sales video. It's going to be a let us rejuvenate your car for you video. It's going to be a thank you for giving us the opportunity to buy your car. And if you have another great one that is in killer shape, give us a call. We'd like to buy it. It's going to be one of those videos too. And on the marketing side of things, let's talk about this M5. This is the quintessential EAG BMW. This is the EAG E39 M5 repeat visitor. It is a 2002 titanium silver on black sport leather, Titan trim. It's a full option car, and one that we've owned now 3 times. It is CF90507. That VIN number is very important because without it, things can get kind of confusing around here at EAG. Many years ago, we said, hey, Trevor, or Josh, or Evan, can you go grab the silver M5 over there and let's get that in for its PPI? And we're sitting here looking at each other like, there's 6 silver M5s over there. Which one? And yeah, we figured out a better way, and today more than ever, because a lot of the cars that are here on property are client cars. Actually, the majority of our cars on property are client rejuvenation projects that have been shipped in enclosed carriers, of course, from all over the country to benefit from everything that we've learned over the last 20 years, rehabilitating our own inventory. Thankfully for those clients, we've been our own guinea pig. We've made plenty of mistakes to get to where we're at, and because we can always continually judge our own work, and seeing these cars when we buy them back, that's the cornerstone of our business model, is only buying the best stuff that we want to buy back. And so we've got to push all the way with the Rejuve program, making sure there's nothing left to chance, and make sure we deliver that car in a turnkey way as best that we know to. And being able to see that work in a rear 5 years or 5 months or however long, everybody's got a different use case and profile. We've been able to tailor and never stop improving to get to where we're at, and we're still learning every day and standardizing more items and learning the life expectancy of certain components. But that is what all of our clients benefit from holistically. It's a group, it's a team, a sport. We're all in this together, and we love these cars, and so it's great that we have the ability and the privilege to rejuvenate and preserve, really, these cars for the next enthusiast after you and after the guy after that, and so on and so forth. And again, I gotta say thank you to everybody that's offered us cars over the years, whether we bought it or not. Thanks for thinking of us and giving us an opportunity. I'm sure, and I hope we are able to help along the way, give you some good advice if we didn't buy it, and those that have sold their cars to us, which is now in the thousands and thousands of people. Thanks for giving us that chance and opportunity to keep the car in the right home. And that's why a lot of people do call us, is they do want the car to go to a good home, because they do really care about the car. And we do give those people our word and our assurance that it's going to go to a good home to the best of our ability. We hope that it's not going to be sold to some rap star and turned into a rally tribute car with lights drilled through the hood. I mean, thanks, Zuckerman. But yeah, that happened. It's on a different show and different podcast. Check out Spike's Car Radio. But we do want to keep these cars in good homes, and we do our best, and that's all we can do every day, right? So if you do have a really great BMW, an M car, and you're getting close to selling it, give us a chance. Let's have a conversation. If nothing else, you're going to learn something and maybe get some free advice, and we do that all the time. And and then we see it on Bring a Trailer, and then somebody else buys it, and it ends up at our shop anyway to go through the rejuve program. So it's probably just easier just to call us straight away. And we will give you a really good price and make it very easy, and we're a known entity. We're going to give you the money. We want the car. But enough of that. So back to CF90507. This car is an identical twin to one that we are auctioning at Amelia Island in, well, a week. Gooding and Company, Friday, March 6th, has a titanium silver. This is the Madonna Special. This is the same color combo, the same car that you would have seen in Clive Owen piloting. I think Guy Ritchie directed that one with Madonna in the background. He's tossing her all around. Who didn't see the BMW films and get really excited about that? It was, I mean, I got goosebumps. I mean, I grew up on that stuff in high school and college. And so many of the guys that are buying these cars today, when we come back to the market conversation, you know, that's who is fueling the market right now, and who's probably going to buy this car. We sold 3 of these yesterday, and 2 of those guys, that's who bought them. Maybe the third too. It's going so fast. We're busy. It's good. We're thankful for that. But this car is that Madonna series, and the Amelia Island car. That's a no reserve sale, by the way. It's selling. It's a car that we bought from the first owner. We have all the history on that car to new. It's a European delivery car, medical kits under the passenger seat. All the records are in the trunk. All those cars are getting loaded up on an enclosed truck and heading to Florida tomorrow. We'll try to fit a one-take video in on each of those cars to give you a little sample of what to expect. There's 4 of them in total. And that car is just as nice as this car. It has 21,000 miles. And I'm not going to say it's better than this car. I'm not going to say it's worse, but I'm not going to say it's better, because this car has been through our program so many times at this point. It's really just, it's proven and it's tested. The other car we have driven about 200 or 300 miles and have proven it to the best of our ability at this point in time at 21,000 miles as well, and can sell it with the same confidence that we've sold every car that's gone through our program. The class of 2020, we're calling these cars. The other 3 cars, just quickly on that topic, is a Bronzit E28 535i. The owners of that car certainly deserve a Chronicle like this, because they've done a fantastic job preserving that car. It's got a trunk full of trophies to back up that argument. We have a one-owner 1M with 6,000 miles and a 7,000 mile Z3M coupe as well, an S54 with the big motor. Really, really crazy market, that one, especially in Europe. We didn't have as many of those to share in the European market as we do here in North America as enthusiasts. And we did just sell, on the market topic, our 5,000 mile black Sapphire, which is a fantastic, nearly brand new condition car. But more on the market stuff as we go along. 90507, CF90507. The storyline with this car starts relating to EAG in 2013, when the second owner, primary owner, he bought it from the first, who was also a California resident. He reached out and said, I've got a special car. I would like to see it go to a good home. All of those things. He said everything that we need to hear in order to continue the conversation as a qualified car and qualified owner, because the car is only as good as the caretaker that's cared for it up until that point in time. And well, he said everything we needed to hear except the price, which of course he wanted more than, frankly, it was worth relative to our purpose. And he wanted more than what we had been buying other cars of similar nature for. Back in 13, we had 25 to 30 E39 M5s at a time. I mean, those were the good old days. And I'll remember those days quite often, or quite fondly, for quite a long time, I'm sure. But they were quite more affordable back then. And we all remember when, you know, a GT 500 Mustang was, you know, $12,000, and now it's 150, or however all that metrics work in those markets. I don't know every one of those cars, but I do know that when they were really, really cheap, they weren't cared about as much. And these cars have followed those type of bell curves. An E30 M3 in 2013 was worth a third of what it is today as well, in a top condition quality example. So that's not very far off of this one. And so $36,000 was what we had to pay to earn the privilege to have that title and take possession of that car and ship it enclosed to Cincinnati and give him a very easy transaction. But thankfully, we had just recently had a session on the EAG car counseling couch with a repeat client in Tennessee, Mr. Miller. he was looking exactly for this car, so we knew our risk was little, and we didn't have really much of a margin at that point, but we don't always do it for that. We really need to get the cars in the EAG network and get them through rotation. Eventually, you know, by the 4th or 5th time, that should be making money by then, we hope. But the car was brought in, we went through it, we sold it to Mr. Miller. $36,000, as I said, we bought it for, and so we're in it for, you know, low 40s, and we sold it for $43,000. I'm getting all the way into the market. I can't help myself. It's everybody wants to know the numbers, and that's interesting, and I don't have a problem sharing that stuff. So here we are now with Mr. Miller. He has his use case, as he's telling me on the couch. He's going to keep the car, you know, 12 months. It's what he kept the last fun car for. And he does do just that, and so we know we're getting the car back, and we can find another enthusiast home and have another opportunity, and that's really where the story gets kind of cool and kind of interesting. It gets you know, the heartstrings as well, because another session on the EAG car counseling couch, and Russ calls up. I'm gonna remember this conversation forever. Russ is a great guy, huge enthusiast, loves BMWs. He'd had an E39 M5 before, and in a really well curated and comfortable manner. He tells me he's having some health issues, and that he really wants to get an M5 back in his life. He needs this as a form of therapy, and needs to just check out all the difficulty, and needs to just blow off some steam and get back into an M5. But he's got to make sure it's going to be a really good car. He doesn't have the time or the energy, or sometimes the ability to take it in and get it fixed when there's problems. And he'd had an M5, so he knew, you know, what some of the risks can be. He had an earlier car, and so he wanted to get a later car. And you know, so he actually he put some responsibility on us to really do our job and deliver him a really good, honest, solid, reliable car. I mean, that's what we sell. That's what we market. That's what we advertise. That's what we're known for. But this one is different, because obviously there's different consequences in this scenario. And so he also challenged us to do some dining upgrades, which we happily agreed to, because he wanted to spice up the relationship a little bit, put a little hot sauce on the second taco there. And so we gave him a nice package that he certainly could have a little more fun with than the first. And his use case was not going to use the car a lot, given the challenges and things he was going through. But turns out it was a really great therapeutic device, because he used the car way more than he said he was going to. We kept really close communication with him throughout the whole ownership experience, and helped him along the way, and gave him recommendations and sent him parts and all kinds of. It was a great exercise. And he owned the car longer than he thought he was going to do. He did better health-wise than he thought he was going to do, and it was just a really rewarding exercise that made it all worth it. And so 2016, towards the end there, he decides it's time to pass on the torch. And of course, we had that conversation before we ever sold him the car, and we knew at the full circle, that lap, that ownership lap, what it looked like. And at some point, we're going to cross the finish line again together, and start another lap with another owner. That's most of the cars in this room, and in that room, and in the other warehouse, and the other one after that. And that's, again, you know, that's the cornerstone of what we're doing and why we're doing it this way. And so we gave him a good price for it back. He said yes. It's always a conversation, and something that's not predetermined. Rather, let's just look at the market. Let's see what's fair for you, fair for us. We're adults. Let's have a rational conversation and make it work. And we do, and we have. And if you've been watching our company, you've seen repeat visitors so many times it makes your head spin. I lose track, but that's why the VIN numbers never change. That makes it a lot easier. So CF90507 then is now destined to go to Northern California with Mr. Starr, also a previous M5 owner and a current M5 owner. He had an F10 M5, a competition package, relatively new car. It was under a year old, still obviously under warranty, and wanted to pass that to the next guy and get back into his E39 M5 that he fell so fondly in love with. And this one already had a lot of the dining stuff that he'd wanted, so just made it an easier decision. He also wanted to make the car better any way he could. He commissioned us to do a couple things before the car left, which is always an option on the table when our clients are buying cars from us. And I think we did the nav upgrade to the MK4 from the MK3. We'll go into the technical details on the walk around here in a second. But he had a great 3.5, 4 years with the car, added another 5,000, 6,000 miles to the odometer, and again kept in contact with us throughout his ownership. And when it came time to sell, we had that conversation, and we sent him a wire transfer, and we sent another truck, and we picked it up. And then short little insert story, I then take the car off the truck. I remember the car well. It was an old friend at this point. And I was going to Auburn, the auction up in Indiana that I'd gone to with my brother and our father for 18 of my first 21 years, and it was Labor Day weekend, and I was like, we should probably take our 5-year-old son to that. So he and I go and meet Dad up there, and I literally threw the car seat in, already had a Valentine 1 radar hardwired in, ready to go, and I go and take it 500 miles straight off the truck, didn't check the air pressure, nothing. I knew the car was right, and it was. And 500 miles later, we're heading back later that night with my son in the back and having a great time, making more great memories in this car. And making those memories is what it's all about, and that's why we're doing this Chronicle. And so we took our time with the car. It's a pretty special car. We want to make sure we find a really good home for it. And so I thought this was a good medium to present this car to the market and find that next home the right way. And it's a sell by interview process. We need to make sure that you're qualified to own this car. Everybody's got money and we do want to sell it. But we also want to make sure that it's guided to the next home because we made that commitment to all those previous owners before the next one. And we're going to stand true to that. So the next chapter is the next enthusiasts to write with our help. We will certainly stand behind them throughout their ownership experience and cannot wait to meet them and tell this story 10 years from now and the update segment. And hopefully we're still maybe even doing this series then. And it'd be great to kind of look back at this video all the way forward then. So a lot more of those chronicles to be written. But before we get to all that stuff, we've got a big list of cars we're going to do. But let's take a walk around the car. Let me show you the car. Let me show you the blemishes, show you the flaws. Let me show you the used, as I like to say, when we're evaluating a car for prospective purchase. And we'll then talk about the upgrades and things that the guys have made along the way. It makes the driving dynamics that much sweeter. And then we're going to talk about the numbers in the market. I'm going to tell you what this car sold for every time we sold it. I'm going to tell you what it's going to sell for now, and we'll keep having some more fun. So let's take a walk around right now. I do have to say this titanium silver M5 certainly looks quite at home in the EAG warehouse. We call this the toy barn as well. This is mostly our collection, but a lot of our favorite inventory pieces will end up here for a stint before they do make it to their new home, and that is certainly why this car has been resting here peacefully the last couple of days. And let's do a condition report. Let's show the used, then let's move along to the upgrades and the history file that's in the trunk. The worst mark on the car, that's always what I like to start with first, and is that scratch right there above the tail light that has been there since we bought the car way back in 2013. The taillight's going to come out. We're going to try to make that just a little bit better because we can do a better job than we did the last time in 16 because we've learned more since then. But it's original once, and I will take the car with its flaws and its originality. That is, frankly, the cars are just better for that. And just brief sidebar on our 2002 TII that we bought from its original owner. It has all kinds of blemishes, like that big old dent in the hood. See it, right? Well, it's right there. You'll see it. But I would rather have its warts in its original preserved condition because that is honest, and they don't make them like this anymore. And their windshield gasket trim it's original. Interior's original, and I appreciate that car a lot more for it with its flaws, just as I do this M5. And speaking of, there's just a couple minor flaws on the wheels, not really anything to speak of. I think the worst mark is right there at about 230, right? Yeah, it's pretty hard to see. Oh, there it is, sorry, right at 3 o'clock. So, nothing too significant. Stone chips, but there is clear bra, albeit it was put on by Mr. Starr at 35,000 miles in an effort just to hit the pause button. And let's not get any more chips than it already has and protect that original paint. Nothing too unsightly, but the car's earned them. There's the worst one right there. So if this is scaring you away, you might as well turn off and head over to Matt Farah's channel and watch him burn rubber in a white M5 that we sold Zuckerman. Because this is a pretty rough car here, isn't it? And speaking of that smoking tire video, usually I like to do some drives in these Chronicle videos, but I can't do a better job than what Matt did in that Alpine white car, so we'll just let that suffice as the drive in this car, because this car has all that same dyno gear that we installed on that Alpine white M5 for Dr. Marks, who's owned about 10 E39 M5s. He sells quite a few of them on Bring a Trailer. TG Marks, I think, is his handle. And he does know a fair amount about these cars, and he certainly has good taste because he bought that Alpine white M5 from us. And sometimes he has poor decision-making skills because he sold it back to us because he should have kept it. Right, Tyler? So all that dyno stuff that is on that car, and actually technically we installed that for the owner before him, Craig, so I should correct myself. Craig probably is regretting selling that car as well, and has asked about buying it back a couple of times too. That's why Zuckerman bought it back. So getting off topic, this is a full option car, has the folding rear seats, it has the park sensors. Listen to that. That's German engineering. LED lights were all updated. The blend mount with the Valentine 1 radar, that's a really slick install, and he passed the radar forward, and so am I. It's not an inexpensive radar. Mike Valentine lives here in Cincinnati, good friend and client of ours. He'll be down at Amelia Island next week. He never misses that event. Original steering wheel, original shift knob, original leather. Let's look at the bolster real close. It is quite good. Just a little wear as it should have for the 40,798 miles. Little pixel check, and it is okay, so says the cluster. And you know, it's just a real honest car. It's got Bluetooth that was also retrofitted. All the speakers, by the way, were also updated to the BSW kit. It's just a drop-in speaker. You don't see anything different than stock. That's the point. And it's just a nice little upgrade, $600, $700, $800, something like that. And if we just want to update those little type of things and add a little more modern touches to the car, you know, those are the things that we can do. Alcantara headliner that's all really still tight. Southern cars might have some delamination starting, which we can fix that for you. We typically have 2 or 3 headliners always in process for customers. And the S62, the heart of the beast. This car has Dynon intake, Dynon mass airflow housings, the strut tower brace, the software to optimize the intake systems, as well as the exhaust. It has a stage 3 suspension, which consists of shocks, springs, the rear sway bar, and the camber plates. You'll notice those front tires there tucked nice and tight. That's the camber plates in action. And all in, the car is pushing somewhere 430, 440 horse in that range. And it's up about 30 foot-pounds of torque over stock as well. The difference over stock in terms of the rear end dyno, it's, you know, it goes from, that's pretty quick to, it's kind of fast. It's more than 10%, probably not 20, I call it 15% difference over stock. And if you've had a stock M5, you'll certainly notice it. It's definitely got more giddy up. And for those that have had a lot of newer cars since their last M5, because odds are the person that's buying this car from us, which it is still available, it won't be probably for long, but the next person that's buying this car, there's a chip that needs touched up, and so we'll add that to the list, has probably owned one of these before. This hood sounds good shutting, doesn't it? It's just tight. Oh, the Dynon front bar. A lot of guys are like, what's up with that? See that air coming through right there on the sides? Those usually are filled in. Those allow air to pass through over towards the brake ducts. That's a part of the Dynon kit, which actually utilizes BMW parts. With those grills on the sides being hollow, it doesn't quite have the structural rigidity that the solid ones do, so that T-bar is added for a little more reinforcement. It's a BMW part. It comes primed. We paint it. Don't know that Dynon sells it as a kit anymore because so much has changed with Dynon since they sold. Sorry, Steve. I wish you were back there because your company's really not doing super great for us anymore, and so that's a different video. But their old stuff still is rock star. Probably get some crap for that comment, but you know what? The truth, it is what it is. Everything in that book speaks just to that point, I suppose. The Dynon badge is in there. The badge of honor, it's got all of its points, and this is when Dynon, I guess, was probably in their peak. I certainly can comfortably say that. All the paperwork, and actually, you know, there's a carbon
in here somewhere from when it was, yeah, there it is, see, carb on. So Steve did get some business out of it after all. So there's all the EAG stuff. There's a receipt in here for $300 when Steve had the gas door rust fixed, which just, it's not rust, it's not a big, it's too abrasive of a word, but the oxidation, I guess technically it is rust, but these do have a little spot where they collect water right in here, and then they will form rust or oxidation, and he did a fantastic job repairing it. We do those so often, even on California cars. I mean, if you wash the car a lot, the guy that washes his car more often than not, typically is the guy that gets this before the guy that doesn't, unless he parks outside, then you're going to get it no matter what. But that's been addressed. Here are the extra little doodads that have been saved. So like these will be replaced when the Dynon intake system is put on, as those cutouts right down there. You can see where those plates would set right there. We typically can knock those little nodes off if we want to make it a little more aesthetically pleasing, but if we ever wanted to go back to stock, we should probably keep those on there. We let the last owner make that decision when we put those on there for Russ. He wanted to keep them on just for the next guy. Certainly can take them off if we want to. But you know, that type of approach is you know, it makes the car your own. And we do like to bring everybody into the process. You'll see the DVD MK4 over the MK3. Just had a delivery of an M5 today to Alan in Atlanta, and he's like, great, love the car. Wow, he says via text message. He's like, oh, hey, by the way, can you send me the rest of the tools? It's happened so many times. And there should be about 6 tools in here, which that's what we're seeing here for an M5. This is a full E39 M5 toolkit. All the extra stuff for general E39s globally, like the warning triangle. We didn't get those in the US, but they still had the opening for it. Well, let's change the spare on the M5, right? So let's get the breaker bar and all the extra stuff that we need. Well, it doesn't have a spare, and so none of that stuff came with the M5s. This is a full toolkit for an E39 M5. And if you are an avid golf fan, don't worry. BMW will show you how to put your golf bags in there. And owner's manual, all that's complete. We got all the keys and so on and so forth. So what you all been waiting for? Let's talk about the market. This car, actually probably be just easier to show you. I've got a little storyboard. This is probably the most thought out video I've made. And I made this cool little storyboard on my new little setup here. And so let's just talk about the numbers. We bought it for $36,000 in 2013. We sold it for $43,000, made a little bit of money, but it's not all about the money, I think, as we've clearly covered during this video. So then we buy the car back from Mr. Miller and then put it through the program again. Didn't need too much, and thankfully we did have a nice little opportunity with the with the Dynon ticket, selling it to Russ. Send the car out and buy the car back. Of course, now the market is starting to pick up some steam and it's changing. The mileages went up and so has the value, but you know, then again, remember there's about 10 grand worth of Dynon stuff added between those two data points, so it's not totally the same, you know, car to car. And now today, that is a $70,000 car as we've positioned it, $69,990 with the next owner to be determined. And check that out. We have a big, cool list of future episodes coming. So this is something that we're quite excited to continue to do and bring to the enthusiast community. The E39 M5 market overall has been quite good. We've seen a high water mark of $176,000 at the Monterey sale in 2018. That is still the high water mark. For those that are following our channel, you may have remember seeing a Mola Red E39 M5 parked about here in a video where we went through the car and talked about it, and it's $150,000 price point, of which it has sold and did sell for that $150,000. So that will be the high water mark for the E39 M5s, at least that we are aware of, albeit that was a 9,000 mile car that was also a EAG 2012 or 13 car that we acquired from the first owner when it had 3,000 miles and put it back through the program again, and obviously had a bit more confidence in it, just as we do this E46 M3 that's hiding back here with 15,000 miles that's come through the program twice. So maybe we'll do a little video on that too.
So thank you for tuning in. We are quite excited to meet the next enthusiast owner of this M5. We're equally as excited to meet the new owner of the Amelia Island car that's being auctioned off. So if you do buy that car, if we see you there, great. We will be on property Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and would love to meet people at the Gooding sale or any of the other venues. So certainly reach out if you're going to be out there and would like to meet up, drop us an email, or just look for me in that sweet shirt as you saw in the video. I'll be wearing one of those, I'm sure. And if you do see people wearing those shirts along the way, there's a very, very strong chance they have bought a car from EAG, and it'd be an easy conversation starter. So safe to say they're a fellow enthusiast. Thanks for tuning in to this first Enthusiast BMW Chronicle of this 2002 M5 CF90507. Very, very happy and excited to bring this to market and share more videos like this with you moving forward. Thanks for tuning in. See ya!